Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be with you today. My name is Tobias Fischer. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Wagely. Financial services are a means to an end. They provide people the tools to respond to economic shocks and build better future for their families. I'm very grateful for the tremendous progress that we have already made in Bangladesh, and I've realized that there's still a lot to be done. For some of you who may know, January was actually the month of financial wellness. And globally, organizations as well as companies are starting to realize the tremendous progress as well as opportunities that financial wellness offers to their employees. So it's a pretty new concept that is gaining much momentum globally. And we are very honored with the Wagely employees to be able to bring financial wellness to Bangladesh in particular. But let's zoom in a little bit more to understand why financial wellness is such an important topic and why is it gaining the progress that we're seeing overseas and globally. So with no further ado, I'd like to proceed with my slides. So as I mentioned earlier, financial wellness is a pretty new concept. So let's quickly take a look at why it is so important. When we did our market research, we found out that actually more than 75% of workers in Bangladesh across industries are living paycheck to paycheck. And that is a particular big problem because whenever there's unexpected expenses, in between pay cycles, people often have to go and borrow. But in many cases, people can't go borrow from their friends and families because oftentimes they're in the same social circle. They can't often go to the banks because the banks are not particularly addressing the segment. So they're often ending up with predatory lending platforms, loan sharks in the different circles or villages. So being able to meet unexpected expenses doing paychecks is a very, very important problem. And on the other hand, as you can see, this problem is leading people often to an unprecedented vicious cycle of debt. So we're classifying this problem of employees living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to address unexpected expenses as employee financial stress. And employee financial stress, on the other hand, is causing businesses to lose millions of dollars every year in terms of higher turnover, lower productivity, higher employee loans on the balance sheet of employers, and oftentimes a lot of costs with regards to the health of the employees. So that is the underlying problem that we're trying to look at. And financial wellness in a broader sense is trying to solve this. So in that regard, let me quickly explain what is financial wellness. So financial wellness is the opportunity of an employee to meet its current and future obligations on time. But what we're realizing is that given the low wages across Asia, oftentimes that is not the case. So people are often ending up in this vicious cycle of debt, are being burdened by the financial stress that they're seeing on a day-to-day basis. And so employers have to take a more active step to help employees and alleviate and reduce financial stress for their workers. And we're seeing that this concept of financial wellness is essentially taking a much bigger scale across countries like the US and Europe, and it's now accelerating at rapid scale in Southeast Asia. But why is it so important? As I mentioned earlier, one of the key issues that we're solving is helping employees deal with unexpected expenses. That is not only causing a lot of financial stress with the employee, respectively around emotional well-being, mental well-being, as well as sometimes physical well-being as well. But it also is causing significant problems with the employer, as I mentioned earlier, especially around turnover, around healthcare costs, around productivity. So it's a very important topic to notice and to be aware of. And I think as the audience will probably realize that there's a lot of employees in Bangladesh, as well as in our home market in Indonesia, that are struggling month to month. And it's been very common, especially in the RMG sector, that towards the end of the month, employees tend to start cutting down on consumption, on food consumption or daily necessities because they're running out of money. So that is a very important problem to look at. And I think there's a very unique opportunity for employers to really accelerate their help and support, especially during this period of time where people are dealing with a lot of unexpected expenses due to medical or COVID-19 related expenses. So it's a very important topic to look at. So what are the benefits? I think given my statement on the problems, there's a lot of benefits that not only employees are benefiting from, but also employers are benefiting from. And in particular for employees that are ultimately beneficial at the bottom of the value chain, it is giving them the opportunity to reduce financial stress and increase financial well-being across a couple of pillars. It's not like when we're looking at financial wellness, we're not only talking about the ability for an employee to have a much more affordable and responsible financing solution through a concept which we often refer to as earned wage access. The ability for an employee to get real-time access through the employer to their wages. And that is the concept that Wagely is standing for and that we're introducing under the umbrella of financial wellness. So what Wagely does in a nutshell is we're partnering with large employers in Bangladesh and working with their employees in order to give them the opportunity to reduce financial stress by giving them real-time access to the salary that they've already earned at any point in time during their pay cycle. So an employee, after working for 1 week through the Wagely platform, has the opportunity to now access their salary real time so that they don't need to wait until the end of the month to receive their pay cycle. But this is not the only benefit which we see under the umbrella of financial wellness. Historically, people have often looked at financial inclusion as a key measure in terms of measuring financial access through bank accounts, through payment options. But financial wellness, financial well-being really looks at the underlying problem more holistically. So we're not only talking about the opportunity for employees to get real-time access to their salary, but we're also giving them the opportunity to save, to get insurance, to educate themselves about financial services and other topics. So if you look at financial wellness as a concept, we're really talking about 5 key pillars. And those 5 key pillars for us as Wagely is essentially earned wage access at the core, giving people the ability to get access to more affordable and sustainable financial services, and frankly speaking, their salary. Second, savings. Third, insurance. Fourth, longer term installment loans that are purpose-driven and responsible. And the fifth is the most important, is basic understanding of financial services. Financial education is the fifth. So if we look at the concept of financial wellness, it really benefits employees more holistically rather than focusing on very verticalized financial services solutions that have been provided by financial services providers in the past. And so if we look at the concept and the benefits that employees are receiving through financial well-being and wellness, the benefits for employers are obvious. But higher productivity, lower turnover, lower healthcare costs, and a lot more engagement, motivation around the workforce, because they see the employer as someone that really cares about the financial well-being of employees. So I think it's very clear how WageLeys are contributing to financial wellness in Bangladesh, right? So if we look at this, the first step for us as a company to help an employee with their financial wellness is making sure that the employee has the most affordable and most responsible financial services solution readily available whenever they're in urgent need. And for us, this starts with earned wage access. So the most important part for us to offer financial wellness and well-being to employees in Bangladesh is to start with earned wage access. It's also important to help them with savings. But if we start with savings, the opportunity that the employee oftentimes still needs to rely on a loan shark or a predatory lending platform that ultimately gets him to day one of his financial wellness journey is huge. So that's why for us, the first step is creating a more affordable, responsible financing solution through earned wage access, and over time supporting the employee with more holistic financial wellness across savings, insurance, and other value-added financial services. And then ultimately, these benefits through the employees are passed on to their respective employers. And so it's very clear what's in for the employee, as I mentioned earlier. For the employee, we're helping them reducing financial stress, giving them more affordable financial services so they can really focus on what matters most. And that is basically bringing their work, their best capabilities to the employer without having to worry about financial stress at work. And at the employer side, we are helping employers at zero cost to work with their employees, take care of them, which will ultimately result in higher productivity, lower turnover, lower healthcare costs, and being seen as a much more affordable, responsible, socially responsible employer, also with the brands that a lot of employers are supplying their goods and services to. So we're very excited about the Bangladesh opportunity, and we're very, very honored to be working with SQ Group as one of the largest RMG manufacturers that we have launched about 5 months ago in Bangladesh. We're now working with many other inspiring groups, including Youth Group, Classic, and many others across the RMG group. And the early successes that we have seen from implementing WageLeys' earned wage access solution to SQ Group are phenomenal. We have SQ Group as a group has about 18,000 employees. We have seen over the last couple of months more than 16,000 transactions. Employees are using our service as almost a very regular basis, where employees are accessing their wages 1 to 2 times on a monthly basis in order to smoothen out unexpected expenses and be able to schedule their payday whenever they want to. It's kind of unusual that these days everything is on demand. Transportation is on demand, doctors are on, telemedicine is on demand, food is on demand. The only thing that is not on demand is your salary. And it's kind of unfair and a weird concept as well. Why do you need to work for a full month in order to receive your salary at the end of the day? So what we're ultimately doing with WageLeys is to give back power and control over your finances, respectively your salary, to the employee. So it's a great pleasure for us to be operating in Bangladesh and introducing this new concept of earned wage access as well as financial well-being to employers as well as employees on the Bangladesh workforce market. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thanks again to the innovation team for giving us and Wagely an opportunity to present during this keynote speech today. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and please let us know if there's an opportunity. We're still looking to partner with more employers. We're also actively hiring, so please reach out if there's an opportunity and if you would like to learn more about Wagely. Thank you.